I know the President of the United States. He fired me on The Celebrity Apprentice. He screamed at me when he fired me. He didn't scream at the other celebrities. He didn't scream at Brian McKnight.
Welcome to Something Crunchy, the Valley's #1 comedy entertainment podcast.
Welcome to Something Crunchy. I'm Cullen Blake. With me, as always, Blair and Tucker Dressel. We have another incredibly crunchy guest joining us tonight. You know him from movies like Road Trip, Stealing Harvard, Charlie's Angels, and Freddy Got Fingered. He's got a new must-see comedy special out on Amazon Prime called I Got a Mule, and he'll be back in the Valley performing at Stand Up Live on April 18th and 19th. Please welcome Tom Green.
All right. What an intro. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us, Tom. How are you?
Great to be here. Super excited to be coming back to Phoenix to Stand Up Live. It's been a while since I performed in your city, so it's going to be amazing. But I'm living up in Canada now. I've got a farm up here. I just put out a new show about my farm, and now I'm on tour and having a great time. So
enjoying that new show about your farm, and you and Charlie going on tour, seeing the world. How's the tour going, and what has been some of Charlie's favorite stops?
Oh, it's been great. We've been everywhere in the last few months. We've been in Nashville, Chattanooga, Dallas, Austin, Colorado Springs, Denver, all over the place, up in Pittsburgh, just traveling all over. It's been every stop is great. I have a great time performing every night, and crowds have been amazing, and it's fun. I have a mixture of people that come out to the show. Lots of people who come out who have seen the new show on Prime Video, and have lots of questions about the farm and Fanny, my mule, and things like this. And then lots of people that come from other things I've done over the years, going back to the MTV show. So it's super cool.
God, that's crazy thinking about the MTV days. But we are excited to have you back in the desert. Stand Up Live on April 18th and 19th. Tickets are available at tomgreen.com. I understand you used to do a lot of traveling in the Southwest. Where was your favorite place to set up camp?
Well, I really enjoyed Arizona. I really did. Had some great trips down there in southern Arizona. I love camping out in the Cabeza Prieta Wilderness area, just down north of the Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument.
Wow.
I've also enjoy all over the desert. We just did some more traveling through the desert just a few weeks ago, actually, and we were actually traveling through Arizona, up in Utah. I really enjoy going to a lot of the Native American ruins that are out there in the desert. It's just amazing to me. I find it quite fascinating. And there's been some videos I've shot of that I put up onto my YouTube channel as well. So it's really cool.
It is really cool. And I do remember seeing some of those videos and how you kind of decked out that van.
And a cool thing about my van, which it's got a Phoenix connection because it's actually from Phoenix. It was, my van's called a boho van. The company's called Boho, and they're a Phoenix-based company. Shout out to Brett and David. They were on the show Shark Tank a few years back, and they won or got an investor, and now they've got this great company in Phoenix called Boho, and they make these vans that are essentially Ram ProMasters that are converted into camper vans.
No shit.
And so you guys should have them on the show too. But I like to go into the desert and do videography and filming, and I have all the solar panels on the roof and battery systems that allow me to charge up my equipment and everything, and just go off grid, and a fridge to keep the beer cold. So it's really fun.
I'm a total nerd for all of that equipment and the off-grid technology and the solar power stations and all of that. And we do quite a bit of camping and fishing ourselves. You could call us rugged outdoorsmen if we were rugged.
All right.
So you're back in Canada now, living on 100 acres of beautiful farmland. Good for you, Tom. Are you guys just laughing at our fantastic shit show from up there?
No, I don't think anyone's laughing up here. Interesting times, but I think it'll all probably sort itself out. I'm not really talking politics in my show. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail if that's possible in this day and age, and we'll be able to keep trading and being great partners with the United States. Canada loves the United States, and we're your biggest customer. Canada is the biggest customer of the United States, buys more American products than any single country in the world. So, and we're happy to do it usually. So let's just keep it going.
That's right, and well put.
Yeah.
Tell us about farm life. Are you growing any purple sticky punch up there? Little Canadian jazz cabbage?
I'm growing radishes mostly radishes, but it's I have a little garden. I grow potatoes and asparagus and tomatoes and things like this. But it's mostly as far as the farm goes. It's as far as crops. It's hay. It's hay fields. For the animals. So I have some 7 big fields that are basically look like grass, right? Tall grass, and we cut it every August and bale the hay up, and that keeps the animals going throughout the winter. So we're completely self-sufficient here. Awesome. I got enough hay for my mule and my donkey and my 2 horses, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow. So you're entirely off-grid when you're up there, like you sheath your own cheese.
Yeah, I mean, we're not officially off-grid. I actually have power and water. The water's from a well, so that's nice. We don't have to worry about ever running out of water up here in Canada. It's especially in this part of Canada. So it's but yeah, in a sense, it's kind of like off-grid in the sense that we're off the beaten track and out in the wilderness, and it's a really peaceful existence up here. I grew up in this area. And I didn't grow up on a farm, but I grew up in this area, and I've always loved being outside in nature and fishing and camping and just being out in the wilderness. So it's nice relaxing place to call home.
What do you fish for up there?
Northern pike and bass mostly, walleye or pickerel as you might call them, but mostly bass and pike.
What's your least favorite chore on the farm?
My least favorite chore? Oh, maybe shoveling manure, I guess. I don't know. That's probably an easy answer.
Your classic shoveling shit chore.
You got to keep the barnyard clean, and you don't want the animals sort of standing around and too many flies and things like that. So we try to kind of keep their main area and where they hang out, clean, which is a fair amount of manure, but it's not that bad though. I mean, it's kind of, the nice thing about having some things to do every day outside is it forces you to get up and get outside and get up and put your phone down and
it's nice. Go
out and get some fresh air. And yeah, so it's great.
Where's the craziest place you've hooked up on the farm?
Well, I'm engaged now,
Yes.
so,
Congratulations.
It's I don't know if everything's crazy. Everything's crazy.
Anywhere on the farm is pretty crazy.
I mean, it's true. All
right. Well, after Charlie, what's the most likable animal on the farm?
Well, I would say most likable. I have a donkey named Kia, who is just the funniest donkey.
That is a cute donkey.
Follows me around, and she's really, really cool. Fanny is the coolest animal. She's a huge mule. And extremely, majestic in a lot of ways. She's a giant horse, really. So,
yeah, looks like a horse.
She's the one that I ride every day. Well, mule is half horse, half donkey. So her father was the sire was a Percheron horse, and she's kind of takes after that. She's got a lot of Percheron horse in her. So, but she's very cool and actually knows her mother was the Percheron horse. Now that I actually really think about it, I said that wrong. Her mother was, I wasn't there at the time, but her mother was the Percheron horse. Her daddy was a mammoth donkey. Actually, usually mules, the father is the donkey, and the mother is a horse. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. She's awesome. And, I ride her around the property every day, and it's really cool. And I never really was somebody that was a horse rider before. I'd maybe ridden a horse a couple of times in my life, but now it's sort of a daily thing for me, and it's really a lot of fun. A whole new chapter in my life. It's
Look
really,
at you.
Really very exciting. So the show on Prime Video kind of captures the day that Fanny arrived, and the sort of the following sort of few months. But it's been coming up on 2 years since we shot that day she arrived. So lots changed since those first few episodes of the show. I went from kind of not really having much experience in riding these animals at all to
riding them every
really
day.
kind of getting quite comfortable with them. And mules are pretty interesting animals. They don't. They're very intelligent, and they kind of figure you out. And if they're in some way kind of concerned that maybe you don't know what you're doing, which I did not know what I was doing, then they'll get stubborn and they'll stop. They'll refuse to go where you want them to go because they're worried that you're going to lead them off into some unsafe situation. So took about a year for me to really get connected with her and
Gotta earn
really,
her trust.
really get to her. Yeah, exactly. It's really been cool. We go on these long rides. We go for many, many miles off into the wilderness and just go exploring. And it's a very nice, cathartic, relaxing thing for me to do, when I'm not out on the road touring. So.
They are amazing animals, and they have just a ton of personality. I do remember that episode that you were talking about when they were first dropped off, and you could just see like their body language. I thought that was so interesting. They were, let out of the trailer and kind of running around and getting used to the land there, and just their body language of how excited they were. That was really cool to see, and you could just tell that they have a lot of personality.
Yeah, and they had a long ride. They came from a northern part of Ontario, Canada, so 18 hours drive north of me. So if you can imagine how far that, how cold that might be. So it's a much warmer part of Canada to where they are. So they were excited. And that moment where you see them run through the field and it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Same with the chickens. I didn't realize they had as much personality as they do. Tyler was explaining that to me, how they follow you around, they give hugs, and they're kind of fun to interact with as well.
Yeah, lots of eggs too. It's a good time to have chickens. The price of eggs is going up, so
seriously,
I get like I go out there and get at least a dozen eggs out there every day. So it's if you're in the neighborhood, I've got enough eggs to keep the whole neighborhood going. So
nice. Okay,
we'll be by in about an hour.
Yeah, come and buy for omelets. So with all that land, what's the next animal up there? Any interest in a dire wolf now that they're no longer extinct?
Well, we have wolves here, so I don't have a shortage of wolves or bears or coyotes, and there's all sorts of wildlife here already. So no, I think I'll pass on the dire wolf. But
have you seen the pictures of the dire wolf?
I have seen the pictures of the dire wolf puppies. Very, very cute. I'm sure they'll grow up to be ferocious beasts. But
they're very photogenic at the moment. But yeah,
it's like Jurassic Park. They'll be like gremlins. I'm sure that what could possibly go wrong.
This is the start of something very strange. We live in some weird times. But I do wonder what is the most desirable extinct species. Like if we are going to go there, like what would be
They're bringing back the woolly mammoth.
I was just thinking, I'm like, well, if we're going to go there, let's go big.
Now those things are going to take a lot of resources. Like
woolly
mammoth.
It's already done.
Now, if you can get into the miniature game, like
toy mammoth.
Like
I would say, mini woolly mammoths, I'd say, would be pretty fun.
That would be
mini woolly mammoths.
We're onto something here.
What's the dinosaur with the long neck? The herbivore?
Brontosaurus.
Mini brontosauruses.
If you could breed a miniature brontosaurus, that's a winner.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Absolutely.
They just want to hang out with the trees and
take care of all your landscape for you.
Somebody's working on it right now. We'll have this as a reality soon in our lifetime. I'm sure.
Coming soon to a farm near you. Well, I know you're growing radishes up there and quote unquote not growing any goof, but I'm curious, do you ever smoke any of the cannabis? You're coming to a legal state here in Arizona.
No, honestly, that's the funny thing about me is people assume I do, maybe just because my last name's Green, but I've never really been a big weed smoker. People say to me, "Oh man, you must have smoked a lot of weed when you were making the Tom Green show." I'm like, no, I was just an idiot.
It's just me.
But I'm glad it's legal down there. That's good. I mean, it's legalized all across Canada a few years ago, and it seems like that's the way things are going.
Yeah.
Blair, did you take your Magic Mind today?
I have.
How do you feel?
Fantastic.
We've been taking Magic Mind for a year now. I still have my morning coffee, but the rest of the day, it's these little green bastards. You get that energized, focused feeling, but there's no crash later because there's no caffeine, only clean ingredients. A lot of companies are quick to say they use clean ingredients, but Magic Mind backs that up with their mission to only use the world's best suppliers, and still, every ingredient goes through vigorous testing, and they'll even send you the results. You can subscribe and try these mental performance shots for free, only paying shipping for a 3-bottle pack. Cancel anytime thereafter. It's a no-brainer to get 3 for free. Just go to magicmind.com/something trial, no G. Check it out, find your flow state, and don't miss out on trying Magic Mind for less at magicmind.com/something trial.
You're a pioneer to podcasting, light years before the masses. What do you think's coming next?
Well, I honestly kind of feel like, personally, I decided to leave the city and move out to more of a rural lifestyle and have a little bit of separation between myself and the craziness of society, and also be able to, kind of grow my own food and have some space. And so I as I drive across the country and do my stand-up comedy tours, and I'm driving between cities, I can't help but see how much space there is out there. Not to mention so many small towns that have become, and fallen on hard times. And I was talking about this recently on Bert Kreischer's podcast. I don't know, I let my idea out, but it's not really an idea that I could really kind of control. But I think people need to start moving out of the cities and maybe even reclaiming some of these ghost towns that are out there in Arizona and New Mexico and all these towns
Texas.
With beautiful buildings and infrastructure, and just go out and revitalize them and start anew out there. So I could see that could be a thing. We're in a world now, like cities are, of course it's fun to be in the city. It's fun to have lots of choices and lots of conveniences, but the real reason people are in cities, because that's as I've always been. There's so much business now that can be done online. So many people can work remotely. So because that's a new reality, I think it's an opportunity for people to think, hey, I don't need to be living in a city paying, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of rent every month or huge expenses. Why don't we go out to the country and get a little plot of land and grow our own food and run my online business, So,
what's the online business?
Well, I'm saying that's what anybody could do if they had an online
business. Gotcha. I see.
Their online business.
That's true.
I run their business through remote business. I mean, my business, I make television shows, so I'm able to do that from the country. I don't need to be in a city. I don't need to be in Los Angeles anymore to make a television show. In fact, in some ways, you're much better off not being in Los Angeles to make a television show. I'm here making a show about my farm, and that's probably more interesting to people around the world than me living in a house in the Hollywood Hills looking at a big city. So
it has been, yeah.
I totally relate. We get the itch to get out of town and kind of get remote as well. That is such a good idea to go and reclaim some of these ghost towns.
Spread out.
There is
cool spots.
a lot of
you don't have to be a million miles from the city. You can just move 25, 30 miles outside of the city and find some land. And there's so much beautiful land out in the desert too in Arizona.
I was just about
love
to say
the desert. So with technology and satellite communication, I mean, you can have internet anywhere. So it's just completely changing.
I know that you kind of moved back to not far from where you grew up. Did you grow up on a farm, or was it a little bit more?
I did not actually grow up on a farm, but we had a cabin sort of out in this area, which was outside of the city of Ottawa. So I grew up going out to the cabin with my parents and going fishing with my dad, and always loved being outside in nature. But didn't have horses or anything like that. But that's the new fun, exciting part. But I'm just down the road from my parents now, and down the road from where I grew up. So it feels like home, but also it's just sort of a new, exciting adventure too, because I'm out and doing all this stuff.
Everyone feels like they know your parents. You were kind of first to the game with pranking parents and getting all of that on camera. Like we wouldn't have seen all that with Bam and the Jackass guys if you didn't do it first.
Yeah, no, it's cool. They always were good sports about things, even when they weren't expecting it back in the day, when I'd show up in the middle of the night with a camera, or barge into their bedroom, or paint their house, or paint their car with The Slutmobile, right? I don't know.
Slutmobile.
yeah.
God, remember that.
You said I could say anything on the show.
That's
so
right.
Absolutely.
We said it on MTV 25 years ago. So,
No
but we
shit.
painted the pornography on the hood of their car and stuff. So it was. Their reaction was always really good. So
That was really groundbreaking at the time. That was new, unique, different. Now it's
There's been a dozen to use that same.
everybody does it.
yeah. Well, I think that it's sort of losing its element of surprise or has lost it. So that's
Sure.
kind of why I'm moving in a different direction too, and trying to show some sort of authentic, real life, stuff at the farm, which is not necessarily shock comedy or cringe comedy,
not
as
at
you might
all.
call it now. But I don't think that
Cringe
you really need to go there anymore because we get enough of that on our
comedy. On the
phones
internet.
every day.
Yeah.
And,
Those
don't
bits
need
had
to
a
see
lot
that.
more bite before the internet and TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always about trying to sort of stay, ahead of expectations and catch people by surprise and give them something that's interesting. So
We've always been a trendsetter in that regard. Can we expect a season 2 of the new series?
yeah, well, I'm going to be doing a new shows for sure. So I have my production company up and running up here in Canada. So I've just actually just done a development deal with a big Canadian media network, Bell Media, and so I'm going to be putting out some new shows for sure. And you can just watch for those; they'll be coming soon.
Congratulations.
Can't wait.
That's awesome. You always got some good stuff in the pipe. Well, we cannot keep you 1 minute longer, or the fine people at the Kelly Clarkson Show will come chew us out again. Be sure to check Tom Green Country, and this is the Tom Green documentary available on Amazon Prime, and he also has a new special on there called I Got a Mule, which was one of the best ones we've seen recently. Of course, come see Tom at Stand Up Live on April 18th and 19th. Tickets are available at tomgreen.com. This was really fun, and we do appreciate you making the time, Tom. Looking forward to having you in town and seeing you at the show. Let us know if you have time for a quick shot of maple syrup afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah. No, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Nice talking to y'all, and we'll see you soon.
Likewise. Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
Bye. This was the Tom Green Sode. It's not the Green Tom Sode. It was one of our favorite sods.
Because it was his sode.
We're having a good time. It is so hard having a guest on who you quote
All the
24/7.
time. Oh, I was
Jeremy
biting my
Piven
tongue.
last week and Tom Green this week. Hugo, you're staring at me like I just asked you the fucking square root of something. No, Tom Green is so damn quotable. We say, are you going to fucking eat him? Like,
You gonna fucking eat him?
it's part of our daily lexicon. Eat me, eat me. I'm going to eat him. He's tasty, Mitch.
He's just so quotable.
My hooves. He was just one of those guys, completely changes the way people spoke. Definitely an influence to pop culture.
Yes.
He owned MTV. He was in between that like Pauly Shore era and the Jackass era and
Bridge that gap
bridged that gap.
nicely.
And he really should get a lot of credit for being kind of the pioneer in podcasting, a lot of the man on the street style reality TV, the
Prank
pranks
video.
and all of that. Like he really was.
Impractical Jokers, you can
Yeah.
thank Tom Green.
Yeah, all of that. Set destruction. Eric Andre always likes to say, like, yeah, he was completely inspired by Tom Green, the reason why he goes and destroys sets like he does. People forget that Tom was a rapper too, not like a comedy rapper, but like he started in a rap duo.
Like a really impressive
It was
musician.
actually
like the
pretty good
piano,
rapper.
I want to even mention like the piano.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. His musical talents. I really would have liked to have gotten to that. I was too afraid to keep him any longer. I know that he was on a tight schedule. But yeah, that's special. It was cool because you had the perfect combination of classic Tom Green and modern Tom Green. Like the content was really good. I really did like a lot of the writing, but you have his dog that he comes out there with.
it.
He goes and sits down at the piano, which he rips and then plays guitar, has a band behind him. Yeah, I was impressed for whatever that's worth. Look, Brennan, I'm not just some guy. No, that was good. I'm excited to have Tom in town. We need to take Tom fishing.
Ooh.
That would be fun.
We got some good ideas in the pipe for some outdoor adventures with comedians.
Yeah.
More to come on that. And if you're not following us on TikTok at Something Crunchy, what's the matter with you? Get involved and find us on Facebook as well. Definitely the highest grade memes in the city. See those red hairs?
I see this.
Don't forget to check us out on somethingcrunchy.com where you'll find every episode, our links to social media, and the Almighty Crunch Store where you'll find all kinds of crunchy gear showing that you are a proud citizen of Crunch Nation.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. All episodes can be found at somethincrunchy.com and on all podcast platforms. Thank you for listening.
Come on. Better eat him, Mitch. Before I do. He's tasty. He's tasty, Mitch.